GLRADIO on Zemo app. Download the app now on Google Play Store.
This is the hottest radio station.
How far on GLRADIO with Dr. Steven.
Good afternoon to people here on GLRADIO. Thank you for tuning in to GLRADIO. My name is Dr. Steven AKITI and I'm your host for the GLRADIO Health Show that happens every Saturday here from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. here in China and in Ghana or in Africa. Most of the places that are 8 hours behind us, from 4:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. and those who are 6 hours behind us, that's from 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Thank you for tuning in, and this is the Health Talk Show on GLRADIO. Welcome to today's edition.
Health Talk on GLRADIO with Dr. Steven.
Yes, so we are transmitting live from GLRADIO's Wenzhou, China. And this week, or the past week, we started a series called worm infestation or helminthiasis. We talk about the first part, and today we are going to go to part 2. We made it clear that worm infestation is one of the major causes of stunted growth, and also it causes widespread morbidity and mortality that people don't even know about. Last week we talked about ascaris and ascariasis, and we talked about how it could cause a lot of complications such as pancreatitis. It will cause you to have liver problems. It even cause you to have intestinal obstruction, which will lead you to theater for us to take part of your intestines out and get it out of your system. We talked about the lot last week. If you haven't listened to us, I pray you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and type GLRADIO and you find us there, or you just find us on Facebook. And as I'm talking to you currently, the program is on Facebook Live on GLRADIO platform. You can also listen to us on the Zeno app. Just type GLRADIO and we are there. We are there to give you entertainment. We are there to educate you. We have one of the best sports programs here in Asia. We are here to actually give you the information at first hand. And for today, since you know it's a health talk show, we're going to discuss the part 2 of the worm infestation. And for today, we'll be talking about whipworm. Whipworm. Whipworm has a scientific name called, I hope you guys will not joke about the name, but it's quite interesting how we have to mention the scientific name, even though it's so simple to just say, oh, we are talking about whipworm. So the scientific name is Trichuris Trichiura. So it's Trichuris Trichiura. The Americans will say Trichuris Trichiura. Yeah, but for we, those who are British speakers, we don't say tri, we say Trichuris Trichiura. So that's whipworm, and whipworm is also one of the worms that have humans as their host. It will surprise you to know that the whipworm happens to be one of the worms that has only human beings as their hosts. So that means if there are no human beings, they won't survive. So for this worm to survive, it needs to have a human and host, or you need to have a human subject for it to be able to survive or live. And it's also a roundworm, so it's part of the roundworms. You know, last week I talked about how ascaris is also part of the roundworm. This is also a type of roundworm that is part of the phylum Nematoda. So you may hear people say nematode. So yes, whipworm is also part of the nematode family, just as ascaris. And you realize that these roundworms are worms that cause a lot of burden to the human population worldwide. If you look at this Trichuria or the whipworm, it doesn't have any animal reservoir. His only host in the world, I think probably we just have to wait if there will be any inventions of a new whipworm by some scientists, just as how in corona was invented. Yes, but currently they have no other host than human beings as hosts. Now with this, let's look at what they've been up to, or what's the burden of this worm in the world so far. Currently in the world, it is said that it has a high prevalence, and also most common among the sub-Saharan Africa, South and Eastern Asia too, and also it is found to have caused a lot of infection. By 2019, they said about 604 to 795 million people in the world were infected with whipworm. Wow, that's a lot. So we are talking about 2019. So you can imagine what will be happening now if 2019 we have such high cases of whipworm. Then I think it should be on the increase, and all these things are more around the sub-Saharan Africa. Somebody who asked what sub-Saharan Africa is. Africa without those from northern parts of Africa, and also we're talking about southern and eastern Asia. So you're talking about China, you're talking about India, all those other countries around southern and eastern Asia. So it's more prevalent there. Now this prevalence is seen because you find a lot of people playing with the soil in such areas, and also the socio-economic status of these areas are quite not high enough as other developed parts of the world. Now, someone asks, so how do we get infected with this whipworm? Just like last week, whipworm is also one of those roundworms that you get infected through the fecal oral route. I explained what fecal oral route is. It means that when infected feces falls on the soil or any part of the earth, or even if it falls on objects and you touch it and it gets to your mouth, that is fecal oral. That means that it's transmitting from the feces into your oral cavity. Then it goes into your alimentary canal. Then it works from there. So that is fecal oral. Now, how does this transmit? Now, you see, the organism spread via the fecal oral route, I'm saying. When you ingest or you eat any of the embryonic eggs, or you eat anything that has been infected by this organism, and it gets into contact, especially getting into contact with your hands, So if you observe with children will always play with the soil. They play with the soil, they put it in their hands, their mouths, their ears, everywhere. Kids. So when that soil is infected by any fecal matter, any human fecal matter that's been infected by this whipworm, then you should know that it's going to transmit it back into the child, or you're going to transmit it into the alimentary canal of anybody that is it. So when you eat such, or when your food or your water or your hands are contaminated with such, and you put it in your mouth, what happens is that it goes straight into your alimentary canal, your esophagus, then into your stomach. Now, when it gets into your stomach, it's able to ward off the acid in your stomach, and it goes straight. It's very, very intelligent. It will go straight. The eggs, as you see it will just go straight into your small intestines. And so whilst it's in the small intestines, it will then take its time and settle. It has to settle. It takes its time. It doesn't rush. It will take its time. It will settle there. Then what happens is that within some few days, it is going to release its larva. It moves from the eggs to the larva. So when the larva is in the small intestine, what happens is that it matures and it establishes itself. Now, immediately it gets to the larva stage. The larva then moves to the big intestines, to a place where we call the colon. So now in the colon, it will mature itself into a matured adult. And when it matures itself into a matured adult, it's going to start growing to approximately 4 centimeters long, and to live in the colon and even move into the cecum. Now, when it's there, what it will do is that it penetrates into some of the layers of the intestine. So it will penetrate, part of it will penetrate through the layer of the intestines, and the other part, it's a worm. So the other part will be releasing eggs. When we are talking about eggs, we are talking about a lot of eggs. We are talking about 3,000 to 20,000 eggs per day. So it will be releasing it throughout. And as it's releasing it, because it's releasing it in the cecum and the colon, that's where it's closer to your anus. So maybe you go to toilet, it will just come out again. So it will come out, then it will go and infect the soil or wherever you send it to go infect that, and it takes about 15 to 30 days for those eggs to get matured and get infective. So then the whole cycle happens again. Somebody eats it goes into the small intestines, it becomes a larva, then it grows into a small adult, then they also start doing the same thing. Now when this adult starts penetrating through the intestinal, or what it does is that it bores holes. So when it gets in there, it bore a hole, and when the hole is in there, what's happening is that they are feeding from your intestines. They are taking blood from your intestines. So they'll be taking blood from it, and they'll be growing. And that it's not just one egg that will enter your mouth. A lot of them are going to enter your mouth. So it increases in number. So it keeps on increasing in number. It will be increasing. So they are growing. They're growing. And you should know that these adult worms can have a lifespan of 1 year. So if 1 year and one is able to release eggs of 3,000 to 20,000 eggs per day, for a whole year, then you should know that it's quite serious. It's one of the most serious things that we usually don't look at when people come into the hospital with abdominal pains or some of the symptoms. So this is what happens, and this is the cause, or how whipworm gets infective to human beings.
On GLRADIO with Dr. Stephen.
Now let's look at what we call some of the signs and symptoms. Now, before you even look at some of the signs and symptoms, okay? Now, when you get infected by these worms and they grow up, or they grow to be adult worms, it needs certain number of them for you to start seeing the signs and symptoms. So if the adult worms are not more than 100, you usually not present with any symptoms at all. It will be asymptomatic. Like there will not be any symptoms. Like you not feel as if there's anything going wrong in your system, because they are not enough to be able to suck your blood or to be able to cause that damage that will affect your health. Because one adult worm just is able to suck, I think, 3 micromilliliters of blood per day. So you need more than 100 to be able to start having these complications. And when the complications start, sister or my brother. It's not a joke. Or when the presentation starts, you realize that worm infestation is actually one of the few things that we need to look at carefully. And so looking at these infestations, we'll be talking about the signs and symptoms now. But sometimes we may take things for granted when we start seeing certain complications, or when we start seeing certain signs and symptoms. So if we don't take them seriously, or we don't rush to the hospital, we may be found wanting, such that at the end of the day we'll be able to pay more for just something that was not supposed, something that has a good prognosis that can be solved within 3 days. This resulting delays have cost about $4.9 million per year in the loss of management of complications of whipworm. So it's something that you must take seriously. That's how come we tell you that if you start feeling dizzy, anything health that you have issues with, just walk to the hospital. It's better to err at the right side than to have complications of it later. As I've told you, most of the time this infection may be asymptomatic if the worms are fewer than 100, and they may not even present with anything. However, even in that asymptomatic state, if the worms are less than 100, you may have certain symptoms like just low abdominal discomfort. There'll be a lot of flatulence. There may be diarrhea or constipations. Now, for those who are heavily infected, who have hundreds to thousands of worms, they may present with certain signs and symptoms. They may present with one. The very obvious one will be lower abdominal pain or severe gastric pain. They may be vomiting. There will be abdominal distension. If I say abdominal distension, that means their abdomen may become bloated. They'll have what we call anorexia. That means they'll not feel like eating again because they feel there's something happening in their stomach. So if there's something happening in your stomach and you're having discomfort, why would you want to eat again? So they'll have anorexia. And when you're not eating, it will cause you to have weight loss. So they also start losing weight. So you should know that sometimes people lose weight not because they are going through issues or because they have HIV or something, but they lose weight because they have cancer. They may just lose weight because of worm infestation. Also, because the worms are more than 100 and they'll be feeding on your blood through the walls of the intestines, you may have signs of anemia. So signs of anemia such as you have dizziness, you have easy tiredness, that's what we call easy fatigability. You have palpitations. You say palpitations, that means your heart will be beating such that you can feel it outside your chest. Also, you have people who will not be able to concentrate well in class or in whatever they do. Yes, and also you find out that they may be pale most of the time, Yeah, so all this, and also with all those who are heavily infected, you'll be looking at a case of people coming in with diarrhea. They are always having diarrhea, and also you have what we call tenesmus. Tenesmus just means there will be painful straining when you go to the toilet, and also sometimes even if you are not at the toilet, you feel there is this irritation around your anus. And one of the things that may also occur is what we call the rectal prolapse, where your rectum may just protrude out of your anus because of the load of the number of worms in your large intestine, that's the cecum and the colon. So what happens is that when there's too much load and also gravity acting on you, it will push your intestine out, causing rectal prolapse. Not only that, we also have what we call the whipworm or the Trichuris dysentery syndrome. This is when you have highly infected patients with a lot of worms. So what happens is, as they are feeding on your blood, they also create holes, and these holes will start bleeding. So when these holes bleed, it will mix with the mucoids of your intestines. So you have bloody mucoid diarrhea, and it will not come as a lot. It will be in small frequencies. So if you just go to the toilet small and you see blood and mucus in your toilet, then even once you are there, you'll be feeling some irritation in your anus. You feel as if there's something coming out, something is not coming out. You feel as if there's someone tickling your anus. Sometimes as you're feeling the tickling, you're also feeling the pain. So you're having a mixed feeling around your anus area. You also, with this syndrome, you have anemia, the signs and symptoms of anemia, and also growth retardation. It is very pronounced for me to say that these cases are normally found in kids than in adults. Yes. Because with the kids, with the least number of whipworms, they can manifest most of the signs and symptoms that are out there, and they normally come out with very quick complications. And also you should know that kids are prone to such things. They may just do something, and it will just they will just go play with the soil around places that they are not supposed to be playing, and they'll have problems. So our advice as parents, let's keep our kids safe there. You should know that whipworm is a very generous worm. It can allow other roundworms to get to infect you, whilst it is also having its share of your body. Yes, it's very dangerous. So you have what you call the polyparasitic infections that can occur with whipworm. So whipworm can then tell Ascaris that, hey, Ascaris, are they here? If you can also come and get part of the body and have fun, since I already have my place. Yes, these worms are taking advantage of our system. But you know that this worm, the whipworm, has no other reservoir than humans. So if we humans decide to keep ourselves properly, we can eradicate whipworms in totality. Yes. So as I've said earlier, normally you will not even see any symptoms if the adult worms are not a lot. And I was talking about the children. With the children, it will be very obvious that they'll be pale, they'll be irritable. It means the little thing, even if you are carrying your child will just start crying. The little thing you do for the child, it will not want it to be touched. It will not grow properly, so we call it failure to strive. The anemia will be there. The least thing your child does, your child will be tired. Like your child who used to be active now will just eat a bit. You will not even have appetite and just sleep. It will be dull, and it's quite, and also there will be intellectual delay. Like even if you're supposed to speak at the age of at a particular age, it won't. Like you find out that your child may even have what we call digital clubbing, and may not even function properly as they are supposed to. So it's it's a very serious case when it comes to the children out there. Actually, some people may see this and may also think that it's not whipworm infestation. They may also think it's something else. They may even think it's iron toxicity. Some of them may even think it's just malnutrition. But you should know that part of the causes of malnutrition is also worm infestation. Yes, worm infestation is part of the causes of malnutrition, because what is it? You are looking at you not having the right nutrient. What if you are having the right nutrient, the right quantity, but something else is taking it out before it's being used? So yes, so worm infestation is also part of that, and that is something we should always look out for. I'm sorry, but most people or most clinicians don't even think of worm infestation when such cases come in, they may even see it as a diagnosis of exclusion. Some may even think that it is pediatric gastroenteritis or even adult gastroenteritis. Some may even think that it's just pediatric thalassemia or one of those protein intolerance cases, or Shigella infection. Some may even think it is a soya protein intolerance. There are things that people will be thinking about, but not worm infestation. But let's face it, in all this, the workup is what, or the labs or the investigation is what will bring out what is really going on.
Health Talk on GL Radio with Dr. Stephen.
Yeah, welcome back. So as we were saying, we said that it's the workup or the investigations that will determine if it is whipworm or not, or even if it's a worm infestation. So because whipworm moves in our alimentary canal, we need to do a test or an examination that can check and know and know whether the whipworm is really in our system. So we need an investigation that can test a product of the alimentary canal, and one investigation is the stool. So what we do is that we do stool samples. So we ask you to bring your toilet and we look through your toilet. So when we look through your toilet and we see that the larva or the egg or even maybe any of the remedies of the worm is in your feces, then we can say that it is hookworm. Because let's say the hookworm normally under the microscope looks like American football, the shape of the American football that they use, and also because of its movement, also it being in the large intestines, it's normally bowel stained. So you see it as bowel stained in the under the microscope. But you see, it's so simple a test to do. Normally, hookworm is not an infection that we have to go and do those high-grade PCR tests and all that. It's not necessary. We just do the stool test. And also, because of other complications, we may do your complete blood count, or some people say the full blood count, to see your blood levels, to see if there's any other co-infection, to also see if there's any other cause, to also see if your parameters in your blood are just okay. And also, we may also do a test for your reticulocyte sedimentary rate, which will also help us see their inflammation rate. Some people may even ask to do what we call an anoscope. Remember I said that because it runs through the alimentary canal, we need to do something, or we need to do investigations to see what is happening. So in very highly infected people who may even have a blockage of their intestines because of the numbers of the worms, we may have to do what we call anoscope. So you put a scope or a camera through your anus and see what is happening in your large intestines. It helps the doctor to know what is actually going on. If maybe what is going on can be removed through that same procedure, or you need to take it to theater and open you up and release them, then we have to do that. Sometimes too, what happens is that they may even take biopsies and check. Sometimes the layers of your intestines may also tell us what is happening in your system. These are many other investigations, but these are the primary investigations, and this will determine what we should do next. Now, after all these investigations, if we are able to ascertain that, so it is whipworm that is the problem, then we have to start with treatment. Most of the time, I know that certain parts of the world, they'll tell you that if you get pawpaw seeds, you blend pawpaw seeds and you either add coke or you add sugar to it, or you add malt, or you add honey to pawpaw seeds, and it happens to be a dewormer. Because I'm not a traditional or a herbal medicine person, I can't talk about that, or I can't ascertain whether it is true or not, but I can only ascertain what is proven by research in Western medicine, which I am an expert in. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Yes, I know there are some leaves out there that can help in treatment of worm infestation, even parts of our foods that we eat, but I don't know them as medications. I don't know them as medications, and I can't comment on that. Yeah, but when I get information on that, I'm going to give you the updates on it. But currently, the WHO and all other places in the world, you use the broad spectrum, what's it called, anti-helminthics or broad spectrum dewormers out there. Normally, with such infections, we will give you this broad spectrum dewormers. We give you these dewormers for approximately 3 days continuously. So you take them once daily for 3 days at their highest doses, for us to see what is happening. And normally, after taking it for 3 days, you come back to the hospital after a week or two, for us to check if everything is okay. All this may go a long way to actually help you to be fine, and mostly because it affects both adults and children. You should know that there are some medications that we don't give to the kids when they are below 15 kg, or they are below 15 kilograms. We would rather give others, not some. So I know people normally just go and buy dewormers out there. Yes, I'm not saying it's okay. Dewormer is part of the medication that you can buy over the counter. Yes, but you see, some of them you need to consult your pediatrician before you give them out, because for whipworm, it hasn't been approved by FDA that some medication like albendazole or ivermectin can treat whipworm. The only one of the few that can treat that we know is mebendazole. Mebendazole. You should know that some of these medications are supposed to be taken on empty stomach. Some of them are also supposed to be taken with food. Like we all know that albendazole, which is one of the most common ones, we take it food. That's when those days when we were young, when you're about sleeping, they'll give you albendazole and they'll give you a lot of sweet things. They say when you take the sweet things, it will draw the worms out. But growing up, we've realized that it's not really the case. The worms they're actually feeding on your blood, not that sugar. And if we are talking about ivermectin, the ivermectin is normally taken with water on an empty stomach. You see, so and ivermectin, not with kids that are less than 15 kilograms. So you need to see your primary physician or your doctor for them to determine which of the dewormers will be appropriate for you. And you should know that some of these concepts are different from geographical location to the others. It may be different in China than in other parts of the world, or even different in Africa, based on their standard treatment of guidelines, in their facility or in the country that you find yourself. So you need to check yourself properly, and you should know that all these medications come a long way to help us fight this menace called whipworm. Now, looking at this whipworm, whipworm, if we don't treat it, will come with what we call complications. And one of the complications, as I talked about first, is rectal prolapse. So rectal prolapse is a very, very serious thing. So in rectal prolapse, what happens is that because there's a lot of worm load around the large intestines, it's going to push down your cecum and to push down your rectum. So it's pushing down, and one day, if your sphincters of your anus is unable to hold it, your rectum will just prolapse out. And when it does that, the only way out is to first take out the worm load. Then secondly, what we do is that we need to repair your anus and put the rectum back. It's one of the most painful surgeries that we have around. Also, you have the bloody stool, that's dysentery, which we've talked about, and a manifestation of anemia. So you should know that when you have anemia in such stage and it becomes a complication, you may also have heart conditions, because your heart will have to adjust to the low blood that is in there and the low blood pressure that you have, and even cause you to have what we call cardiomyopathy. It also causes you to have certain conditions that will actually multiply in a lot of folds, not to help you grow properly. And we also be looking at in children, we also look at malnutrition. I've said it all over again. So malnutrition, so his weight to height will not be proper, his age to weight and age to height will not be proper. You see this child having stunted growth, and these children will not be able to grow properly. They may not be able to communicate at the right time, and they'll have growth retardations and all the in every aspect of their life when they are heavily infected. Now, you should know that this treatment that we give you has a very high prognosis. Immediately we find out the whipworm and it hasn't gotten to the highest of all the complications. When we give you the medications, you'll be fine within a week, and then life can go on. Someone asks, what can we do to prevent this? We'll be right back.
Health Talk on GLRADIO with Dr. Stephen.
Download the app now on Google Play Store.
GLRADIO, the TSI feeling. This is the hottest radio station.
So yeah, welcome back. So we are still talking about whipworm, and we are discussing currently the prevention and control measures. So let's start from whipworm. Knowing how you get whipworm, you can also prevent it, isn't it? So we all know that it's from infection of the soil by feces. Yes, human feces, because hookworms only host on Earth. I don't know about Pluto or Mars, but it's humans. Now, if this happens, okay, how do we prevent it? So one of the measures to prevent this is to have sanitized, or we have treated latrines around us. That means even when the toilet facility should be treated, the sewage waste should be treated. It shouldn't just be released into the environment. There shouldn't be indiscriminate spillage of feces. There shouldn't be indiscriminate throwing away of feces around us in our community. Even those who go to the beach and have it ease around, no, they shouldn't do that, because it takes about 12 hours of heated sun of more than 40 degrees to heat directly on the earth for it to destroy it. So it's good that we do that. Secondly, we advise that you actually wash your hands properly with soap and run under running water before you put your hands in your mouth or you eat with your hands. The children, we advise that you keep them away from infected soil. Those who are at homes that have soil for their kids to play with, which is very necessary because it's good for them to interact with microbes. We advise that once in a while you disinfect the soil. Some people will have to heat up the soil once in a while there for their kids. And also we advise that you boil your vegetables properly, you boil your food properly, and also when you're washing clothes, you wash them properly under good conditions. You know, one of the best ways to kill this organism is to have the temperature less than negative 4 degrees and also higher than 40 degrees continuously for 1 hour. Continuously for 1 hour. That's the key word here. So when you do that, you'll be able to destroy this organism. And also, not only that, when you're looking at this, we advise that you educate your friends on this. I know that there are words about taking dewormers once in a while. Yes. We advise that those who are in the endemic areas like the Sub-Saharan Africa, the South and East Asia, we advise that you deworm yourself at least every 3 months. And those who are not in these sub-regions can deworm themselves at least twice every year. This will go a long way to help you prevent this worm infestation. And let's just face it. Why not prevent something that is very easily preventable? We all know that these dewormers are not bitter. Dewormers are not, they are just okay. Some of them are even sweet. You can just chew them and you're fine. It's better that way than you having the complications and then coming up with issues that you have to spend a lot of money on. As I've already told you, just last year alone, the CDC said the world spent over $1.9 million on just complications of worm infestation, something that can be prevented. I would advise that we all stand up to this because Whipworm has only humans as their host. So if you're able to deal with them properly, we will not have issues at all.
Al Star on GL Radio with Dr. Stephen.
Now on Google Play Store.
So yes, today we've come to the end of my show, and I advise all of you out there, make sure you take care of yourself. COVID is still real. Hold on to your masks. I know most cities in China don't have the cases now, but we've just been hearing of some of the locally transmitted cases in some of the cities out there. If you're part of those cities, we advise that you take care of yourself. We have to quarantine. If you're part of those who have been exposed, self-isolate. Self-isolation is for the benefit of all of us, including yourself, so it doesn't spread the disease. Take care of yourselves out there. Those who are still on Chinese holidays, enjoy yourselves. I know by Monday, you join us at work. Take care of yourself. My name is Dr. Stephen AKITI and your host for the GL Radio Talk Show. Next on our program is Dreams and Destiny. Don't touch the dial. We love you, and we love you so much.
Listen to GL Radio on the Zeno app. Download the app now on Google Play Store.